Welcome to Christian Statesman. I'm your host, Zach Wagner, and this is episode 122, America's Moral Authority. Mark Levin just came out with a brilliant book, one of his best in my opinion, American Marxism, a work in which he documents the infiltration of the Marxist Frankfurt School into nearly every institution in American society. We are reaping the fruits of allowing the immoral among us, those who succumb to a Marxist view of the world so aptly identified by Levin, to assume the offices of leadership and influence. It begs the question, has America lost its moral authority? The answer to that question may be the most central issue to our day. To answer the question fairly, we must examine the premise surrounding if America ever had moral authority at all. I believe the historical answer to that question is a resounding yes. The cultural Marxists among us would counter that America was founded in unjust imperialism and slavery, such as the rewrite of history according to critical race theory or Project 1619. These endeavors are simply a propagandist's undertaking, based little in fact and taking a very narrow view of a broader panoply of historical events. The facts from those on the ground at the time support the origination of America and the Constitution as the most righteous and moral exercise in government ever undertaken. Far from the feudal systems that literally enslaved untold millions across Europe, Asia, and the world at large, the idea of a constitutional republic was more than revolutionary. It was a proposition of profound implication, postulating that a people left to their own liberties and ideals could use those opportunities to exercise free and moral choices to guide their own destiny. While great liberties involve great responsibility, our founding fathers had confidence that a people left to these devices could prosper, and for some time we did. But wherever great freedoms abide, there are always those who will leverage a system to their own advantage. Originally, we set up a system of legislative and legal checks and balances to prevent such abuses of the freedoms we offered. But over time, even those balancing institutions became infiltrated and corrupt. The American people still contain a large number of citizens who are individual moral actors, those who would use their freedoms according to a strict moral code, a code often advised by biblical principle. But among us are a great many who no longer see the point of personal morality and adopt a purely secular anything goes and to the strong go the spoils attitude. Once these less than acceptable approaches become institutionalized, we have trouble. And this is where we sit today. The election of Donald Trump in 2016 was seen by many as a reaction to the hopeless corruption at so many levels of our infrastructure. The wealthy and the elite live by one set of rules, the rest of the faceless rabble by another. Trump vowed to set things right, but the swamp is far deeper and wider than perhaps even he anticipated. His success was notable in some areas, but quite limited in others. In 2020, we saw the empire strike back. The halls of power are now blatantly being controlled by those who have no particular interest of the people at hand, but operate according to their own power-consolidating, globalist-feigning, elitist agenda. Where once America was seen as the moral authority of the world, where we once marched across Europe and Asia to deliver weaker countries from tyranny, we are now embracing a uniquely American-bred brand of tyranny within the walls of our own home. Where we once purchased the freedom of others with precious blood and treasure, we now usurp that treasure to apply to nefarious objectives that seek to undermine the very freedoms that provided such treasures. This, of course, is unsustainable, as we have pointed out on many occasions. And the fact is that America is the last holdout of any moral authority left on the planet. Once America is brushed aside, darkness will enter in the form of a Chinese communist social credit model of a totalitarian state where concepts of liberty and human rights become a seldom mentioned footnote of history. Strict control and a heartless conformity will be the order of the day. We need to recover the moral mandates our own Constitution and the freedoms our past generations have paved demand of us. It is clear those in power in America are compromised and refusing to uphold these moral imperatives to any degree. If we do not lead by moral example here in America, who will? Who is left to check the creeping shadow of centralized elitist totalitarian rule? If our moral authority is permanently faded, it will be a long and bloody struggle before the world gets any moral authority back, if it can get it back at all. Every person within the sound of my voice should ponder what this means to them personally and collectively, and resolve here and now where they will stand. Thank you for being with us. Please subscribe, and as always, have a blessed day.